You see a set of tattered curtains blocking the way to another room.
Excuse me, officer. The back room is strictly for employees only.
You see some kind of charm, an irregular polyhedron assembled from bones, sticks, and straw. Inside, a disturbing fish head. This is a traditional Seminese ward, meant to provide protection against ill luck, bad dreams. Inhabitants of Île de Fantôme, the Seminide Islands down south. Aside from poking at it suspiciously, there is nothing else to do with the fish head charm at this time. A small mountain of colorful board game boxes. There are numerous
wonderful board games, sir. The Viticulturist Braubritter is a fun game of economic competition, but can get quite intense after a while. We have games for the whole family. You can play with your children. Then you're a lucky man, officer. For playing with friends, I'd recommend Suzerainty. It's a civilization building game where you build a civilization, then set off to brutally colonize and repress other civilizations. It'll cost 12 real. Lousy auras there. No, I've heard they turn people into occult enthusiasts.
An endless variety of source books, lore books, and codices. There's also a large hardbound tome with intricate books in a board game section. Who wants to read books? There's a box that says Wirral, 3rd edition mega setting supplements module. The side panel note that price is steep, but then it's the 3rd edition.
Trying to sneak up on me? Come to slit my throat in...
Apparently, she doesn't like people standing behind her back. Logic error. She is not sleeping right now.
Pigs come to take me out, trying to snuff me out. Don't get clever with me, pig. You think you're so clever.
This is a wall on the side of an apartment building. You have no clue. It's just so many walls all over Martinique.
There must be another way to do editing.
It's been a week and now they show up?
You see a young man on a balcony nursing a cigarette. His eyes have been followed.
Not looking for any trouble, officer.
It's the voice of someone who has something to hide, my liege.
I don't want to be seen talking to the gendarmerie if that's okay. I just want to finish my cigarette.
Don't let him go. This could be your witness. The balcony has a great view of the whole thing.
Is it really that important?
Like a nervous cat, he keeps stealing looks at me.
All right, but make it quick. Once I finish this cigarette, I have to run. I'd even go so far as to say that the view is a little too good, my dear gendarme. Do you have an estimate of when the body will be taken away?
We will remove the body as soon as possible. Now tell...
Oh. You already asked me that, didn't you?
Wait, is someone else investigating the lynching?
No, not you two. Some more muscular type.
And when did you speak to this more muscular gentleman?
Last week? I don't know. Look.
A downy blanket of white to cover up the miserable poverty of the scene.
You didn't answer the question. What were you...
I had a friend over. It was my Sunday friend.
He doesn't reply, gesturing no with his cigarette. Under the grey sky.
My name?
That's definitely not his real name.
No, of course not. Could you please lower your voice? No. We won't. Now, if you'll excuse me, I really need to get going.
This isn't the place or time for questions. Who knows who might be watching from the distance, hidden behind the curtains? For a moment, the man on the balcony seems almost vulnerable. Something moves in the depths of his feline eyes. Compassion and a hint.
I am sorry, but I really don't have the information you're looking for.
But, hold on, what's that? For a split second, his hand lingers as though it's a sign.
Good luck with the investigation.
He's gone. No point in running. Tenements like these often have multiple... He could be a witness. Him or his... He did leave us a sign. Did you see that? He wanted to draw our attention to that stone right over there. If we find a way inside the building, we can ask around for his...
A stone, like any other, lying in a whirl of sleet and mud. There's a key beneath it, rusty from the dirt.
This must be for the front door. Pity it doesn't have the apartment number on it. This building has many apartments and we'll just have to go in and see.
This door has been closed with a padlock. A chalk-drawn number on the board says, number 11. It's a solid lump of metal, but the shackle is deeply corroded. A solid pair of chain cutters would make short work.
Why would we want to break into some random citizen's apartment?
The lieutenant doesn't say a word, but he knows it wouldn't make much of a difference.
I suppose if one were committed to it, there's a pair of chain cutters in the kinema.
No reply. You hear someone walking around inside, rearranging the... The walking stops abruptly, but no one comes. A poor communard from the looks of it. The room.
Do I have to open the door? Do you have a warrant? I'm not obligated to open.
Let's go. We don't have a reason to get inside.
It's generally easier to do things if you have literally.
Give me a moment. The cold never does any good for my bronchitis. Go ahead then.
She's the cleaning lady. She knows the floor plan and the residence.
Yes. I know who you mean. The scrawny boy.
Somewhere in the building, a child starts crying. You hear a radio tuned to it.
What's he in trouble for? Talk?
What was so funny about
He lives upstairs in room 28. Go to the balcony. It's one of those doors there.
Thank you. We should go check out his apartment on the balcony.
Ask away, policeman. People come and go.
They probably just moved or died.
No one lives there. It's been empty for... Impossible. I would know if someone had moved in there. Maybe it's those countercultural people again. Breaking into a house like it's a public space. You're a policeman. Be good and take a look. Great. Young people. They're worse than rats. You know, all...
She mumbles some kind of a response. You hear someone walking around inside.
Excuse me? Of course not.
You have plenty of reason to enter.
Oh, come on.
Well, that
That was smart.
Satisfied? My name is Marielle Charpentier, and I'm an agent with Martinez Realty Associates. I am not
boy, there are a lot of different keys there. More.
Do you want to see my ID as well? You can't legally ask for it, but why not? Want to see my residence permit?
It feels flimsy in hand, with the words Revachol Zone of Control written under a nondescript.
Thank you. Do you have any questions? I need to be back in Midtown in an hour. Oh, that's another huge mess. The former tenant owes us 3 months of rent. And again, I have no idea how stupid mistakes like this can even happen. A hole in the wall. Can you believe it? And then the tenant ran off with his stuff. He's gone.
The sum must have been puny.
Don't ask me what happened with the wall. I have no idea. Both apartments are now unrentable. Both. I need to get it ready for the next lease, but as you can see, the previous tenant completely trashed. It was some kind of a moribund old man who used to be a business owner.
A sudden serious look crosses her face.
But that was months ago. Anyway, of course.
Give me a moment. I see. I hope some good people are finally going to move in. This place needs them. Yes, well,
Your statements are too vague to comment on.
The streets will flow red once more, a great torrent rushing down Rude.
The streets will not flow red with anything.
I'm Cindy the fucking Skull. What else do you want to know? Date of birth, blood type, the last time I was tested for Hep C. Ask away, pigman, but I don't promise to answer.
A brush, an artist. The red splatter is urban expressionism. That smell coming from her paint bucket, it's not paint, it's heavy fuel oil. Red-dyed heavy fuel oil is only used in government vehicles, or at least that's the idea.
What did you think I was using? Aquarels? Sucked it out of a cop's fuel tank myself. Back in Jamrock. Or what? You'll push me off this ledge and pry the bucket from my dead hands? I ain't no snitch, pigstein. Go forth and forage in someone else's.
Actually, there is a shortage of people who talk to us in a...
We weren't put on this earth to make your life pleasant. Can't you tell? I'm painting a beautiful... I haven't really started it yet. I'm waiting for the right words. This place is severely lacking in I thought I'd mix it up, you know. Summon the forces of crime and social chaos, yeah? Lying is cool, I guess. Watch your back, Hello again, officer.
The lieutenant furrows his brow at another one of your eccentricisms. Hatred, disgust, it's the woman on the boat does not note.
That is on her. Someone's got to keep an eye on her.
Ozon is an archipelago 2 days' travel away from Rivershore. Its moneyed residents.
Probably the Wild Pines rep. We should talk to her. She's a professional negotiator, though. I have the feeling she will be... You should take the lead. Ask her unexpected questions, you know? Do your thing.
Good idea, piggies. Run along now. Fuck her shit up good. Ooh. Not only have you found my address.
She does have eyes that seem to be smeared with coal.
Yes. I keep hoping a shaft will collapse on me. It doesn't have to do anything at all. Nothing.
The inspiration will come to her once hell is set loose on the street.
Does anyone in a city like this? Shoot, piggy. It's what you do.
Ruination has come. The broken arches betray the once a great force from the northeast fired into the city. The tenement acted as a defensive wall against the worst of the shelling, until those arches acted as support. Only 3 stories stand where 9 to 12 once did. A fleet, the combined armies of Occident, they massed airships further down in the Bay of Revachol. Many are still there to this day. If you squint, you can just barely see the shadow on the water, far in the northeast. Coalition warship Archer can shoot 50 shells a minute on 20 co-aligned archers. They will reach the
coalition. But that was a long time ago. I think we should move on. It's chilly up here.
The waves of the Martinez Inlet. What didn't fall into the ocean was used as scrap. Against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM. I'm glad to see you here.
Like steel, there is strength there.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter?
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical...
There's a trace of irony in his voice. It happens quicker than a shooting star. But did the...
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines Group. What we do... I'm afraid I don't speak...
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to...
The Pines' core competency is logistics, container shipping, and that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and...
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone. But several of the Indo tribes, Saint-Baptiste, Elysium, an unknown entity known as
Why, thank you. I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue. 20 billion is a large number, but the conglomerate employs 72. A conglomerate the size of the Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving, it will die. Then what becomes... They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting... Centuries of care, deliberation and madness have gone into this endeavour. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricot... You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners? who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo.
She nods.
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets. I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice,
And how are the talks going?
they're not. That's the problem. The unions,
Wait, she just admitted that the lynching and the strike are connected.
now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter 20 racist behemoth blocking the gates. Yes, I believe there is a connection. But that's a subject for later. Let's say I was not made...
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
Ludicrous even. It's meant.
Mr. Clare told him to... How did he put... Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is... Yes. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator. Mr. Clare has... Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about... Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick...
If you were to prick it with something sharp, you could see it oozing out. A knife, maybe? No, a rapier.
He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal... Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers. The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish organized labor at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter election.
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is... Of course, officer. I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections.
This forewoman, her name?
Sadly, the company records do not even give a name. She's just forewoman in private correspondence, Holly. I don't even know if it's a sir or given name. And I don't have... Indeed. The company suspects foul play. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. Every worker, a member of...
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pine... Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group. I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just... And now, people are getting lynched, I hear.
Excuse me. From whom did you hear?
I first heard it from the boyer at the gates, the one whose very name advertises his aversion to...
This checks out.
Mr. Clare told him to... How did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see. Yes. Keep in mind, this is an... Of course. How else can I help? Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge.
How curious. Why is that, Detective? I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please. Oh, dear. Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I do believe you, naive as that may sound.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional.
Of course, I sympathize. But I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that back.
She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement. She's a negotiator. Just float a favor at her. Insinuate.
I will be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to...
You're in, but expect her to drive a hard bargain.
Reports from inside Terminal B suggest it's a hub for the local drug trade. This is an open secret in Martin.
They're profiting from this trade.
The company has tried looking into this matter before, to no avail. Or you can recover your badge, though if I may be blunt with you, it's...
Detective, a word in private before we continue. This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective. Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and not volunteer us to... This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept in providing...
Maybe this is all her plan. She might have heard about you.
Oh, that would be fantastic, but do we have the time?
The situation might have changed drastically.
You could request a new one from the station, but that would literally take months. No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must... What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this... I wouldn't go that far. Her reaction did come off as sincere to me.